Hello and welcome to the Dustin and Eric podcast show brought to you by Mimosa Networks. Hi, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Good to be here.
Welcome to episode number 30. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. So, new cloud features. We have 12 new features
11,
for you.
12.
Bravo.
Not 13, not 11,
12 days of Christmas, 12.
That's right.
Nice.
Perfect.
Full partridge in a pear tree here.
And guess what? We're giving them all away for free.
How about that?
To you and you
Great.
and
No
you
strings attached.
and you guys and you too. So
Nice.
all for you and your troubleshooting needs because,
Great.
well, I think that they'll help you quite a bit, and I think that Jeff and Eric also think they'll help you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So here are the feature summary real quick. So G2 client information, C-Series client analytics, basic client view, one that I think is very important, network spectrum, reports, advanced topology, a nice, beautiful, pretty, amazing progress bar, take you back to the days of dial-up, additional A5 graphs, export data, Lifecycle events, a network status chart, and then the most important one I think on this list that I know people have been waiting for forever now, scheduled upgrades.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and talk about the G2 client information real quick. So Jeff, tell me what you like about G2 client information.
Well, it gives you some good information about what's going on at the customer's side of the link there. You're able to see, the health and status of the G2, and this information is pretty valuable if you're checking on a situation with a customer's connection point. So I think it's just good information to have. Yeah.
Good troubleshooting point. Customers are complaining about slow speeds, but you can identify how far away they are from the access point instead of having to spend all that money to roll out in a truck to determine the same thing.
And how about locally on site? For techs that might be on site, they can log in and see if that Far Smart TV is connecting. They might be on site.
Yeah, exactly, because it's going to show you all the G2s that are connected.
Show the RSSI per device, etc.
Yeah. All right.
Any other neat stuff on there? Fire rates?
Yeah, a bunch of things.
Bunch of stuff. Oh, firmware.
Mm-hmm.
114. Wow, that's so 22 months ago. So you could bump it up, maybe 116, whatever the latest is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that remotely, though.
All right, so the next thing we have here are C-Series client analytics. So as you can tell, we're not spending a whole lot of time on these, but I have created documentation for each of these features in the cloud. So you can definitely check those out by going to help.mimosa.co, go on the cloud page. You can also just look at them in your cloud account as well. So anyway, the C-Series client analytics, there's a whole lot of stuff here that we've added. So we've got client usage, we have client PHY uplink rates, client PHY downlink rates, uplink per, downlink RSSI averages, uplink MCS rates, and downlink MCS rates. So to me, this is a really good value-added feature to help you really understand what's going on with each of your clients. You can see who bandwidth hogs are. You can see if a particular client or multiple clients are having RSSI issues, so you can troubleshoot if there's an issue with the AP or if there's an issue local to one of the clients, like somebody parked a truck in front of a dish.
Right.
You can see all of that using the client analytics feature.
I'm looking at the graph there. I was wondering what kind of a time frame snapshot does this client analytics provide?
So you have either 1 hour or 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that too. The averaging, how does that work generally? And
while data is kept from 0 to 24 hours, it's pulled every 5 minutes.
Every 5.
So if you refresh your browser after 5 minutes, you'll have 5 minutes extra data there to look at.
Okay.
Great.
All right, so the next feature is basic client view. So basically it provides you with a summary of info of connected clients on your access point. So this is pretty much the exact same screen you would see if you logged into your access point and went to the clients page without actually expanding it to look at graphs. So it has all of that data there for you without you actually having to log into the radio. So Eric, why do you think this is important to have?
Yeah, so we can go over time and see associated clients, see the firmware mismatch, and not, like you said, log into the go directly into the A5, go right up to the client's account, and directly get the required data.
As
Ease of
support guys,
access.
does this view help you at all?
Yes and no. I'd say yes, it would help the customer. For us, we're typically logging right into the radio, so it doesn't really help us necessarily from the support side, but I think from the customer side, this is tremendous amount of information because, again, you can look at the performance of your client devices in this view. So you're not, like what we do is we typically log into the actual radio, which is a
Right.
manual process. Here you're doing it from a single source, in this case your network cloud management. So it's going to give you a little more command and control of your network than you did before.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of eliminate the middleman, so log directly into the account, and
Right.
there it is. Yeah. Basic view.
Well, the other piece of this that we want to make sure we touch upon is that you can log into the cloud management from anywhere, right? As long as you have the right password and username. If you have a network that's behind a firewall or behind a VPN, you may or may not have that luxury. So if you get a call and you need to troubleshoot the network, and you say you're on vacation or on the weekend or whatever, you can just log right into the network view there, cloud management.
What's the difference? You show the basic view tab engaged. If I go to list view, again, that's just a list of the active and clients, right?
Right.
Clients on the MAC list.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a detail of, say, 2 radios here, for example. I see. Okay.
So the next feature here, which I think is probably one of the coolest features we've enabled, is called Network Spectrum.
Yeah.
And what that means is that you can go into your A5 on the cloud, click on Network Spectrum, and it shows you the spectrum graphs from every single radio connected to that A5. So you can make not a guess on which channel you should pick. You can see exactly which channel is clean at the AP and all the clients. So you can help determine if a client or multiple clients are having issues with download or upload. You can see if they have interference without actually having to go into the radio.
Yeah, that's a huge improvement from what we've had in the past because, again, the way that we were able to capture this information before is you had to log into each radio and open up multiple tabs and try to get an idea. Here you can actually see a comparison right there on the screen.
You got a visual performance graph there, and
Right.
with the comparison, instead of just trying to extract, say, kind of not quite raw data, raw detailed data. This is a nice kind of smooth spectrum, quick view. I like that too.
Right.
That's neat.
One additional thing to add to this is all the radios need to be on the same firmware version. If you have a firmware mismatch, then those that are mismatched aren't going to load up on this graph.
It's good to know.
This month.
All right, and then the next feature is the reports feature, which is a customizable graphing tool that is able to do device-centric or graphing between 2 devices or series-centric graphing up to 10 devices. So you can just kind of compare side by side multiple devices on how they're performing across your network, or multiple devices on the same tower, so you can kind of track and see if there's something local that's causing issues for you, or if it's just one link somewhere in the network that's having issues.
Kind of something that stands out, a flag. And I can, I see the drop-down action tag, upper right, so I can go in and load, get a report there, download it to my drive, and
Yeah, so you can
So save them.
These reports are saved to the cloud,
Yeah.
so you can save and load reports from the cloud.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I like this feature because sometimes when you're troubleshooting
Snapshot.
interference, you are trying to find a correlation. If you're seeing interference on more than one device, you can do a comparison here and isolate and double check whether or not it's actually unique to one device or it's happening to multiple devices.
Kind of instead of going back and forth between addresses,
Right.
or grabbing static snapshots and doing the side-by-side comparisons. Yeah.
Right.
Very good. Yeah.
All right, so the next thing here is advanced topology. While I've only ever met one other person who uses topology, topology is really cool. Jeff or Eric, have you guys ever talked to anybody who uses topology?
Yeah, we use it on our Alpha network. The topology works out really well when you have a crisis and you're trying to determine the hierarchy of where the failure is at. So you know, with the icons here, you'll see a different color based on the condition of that radio, and you can see kind of a top-down, or in this case, a network tree from the side there, and you can determine where your single point of failure is.
Right. Beforehand, we had just regular manual topology where if you add or unlocked radios, they just appeared on this screen, just a big blob of them. If you hit auto, it arranges those for you. So if you have an A5 with a bunch of C5 clients, it automatically makes a tree for you. It makes it all pretty. It spreads it out for you, connects everything. So it's a lot nicer than just trying to arrange it all on your own, which is what we've had to do in the past. And I'm sure for those of you who use topology have had to do in the past as well. The next thing, which is, well, I think it's a good one, is an upgrade progress bar, because to give you an example, back in the dial-up days, you're watching this progress bar for downloading something, and it just, at least you can see progress on it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a bar, you'd just be like, is this ever going to finish?
Yeah, what's going on, right?
Well, in the cloud now, if you do a cloud upgrade, you actually have a progress bar that shows you the percentage of how far along that is and what it's doing at that percent.
That's great. Is this from maybe feature request or incoming clients have requested this? I'm sure.
Yes.
Like, hey, do I need to refresh? What's the progress? What's happening? Am I complete?
And then another thing that's going to be coming with this soon is scheduled upgrades, which has been an extremely popular feature request as well. Where instead of getting up at 3 a.m. to start some upgrades, you can actually schedule them to start whenever you want.
Yeah, that's been a real hot topic in the trainings I've been doing. A number of customers have asked for that, to where they can, set it and forget it, so to speak, and schedule a certain maintenance window to do the upgrade itself, and then next day they come back in, they can see which devices got upgraded, which ones didn't. I like the idea though with the progress bar. I know we call it kind of a dummy light. It's like the oil light on your car there. When it starts flashing, you're probably already in trouble. I think this will be really nice when you're upgrading networks, and you maybe are doing batches of radios where you're not necessarily wanting to do your whole entire network, but you want to do a number of radios at one time. This gives you a clear indication when the actual upgrade has been completed, so you can move on to the next batch. So I can see where this would work really well for doing your configurations or your upgrades.
So if you've got a few going, can you pause one of the CPEs or one of the devices?
No.
And allow the bandwidth to push to the remain?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I like I'm looking. I don't know if you can see this at home. I see besides the bar, you've got a progress percentage. That's great. That's great for the guys also that like the numbers. So that's handy too.
Right.
Very nice.
So the next thing here, we have additional A5 graphs. So before, you didn't have GPS count, GPS average, temperature of the radio chip or the MPU, things like that. Now you have those additional graphs to better help troubleshoot. We know customers have a lot of issues with GPS interference, so we wanted to make sure that they had those tools available to them as well, so they could help troubleshoot that.
Oh, be darned. Yeah, so the customers in communication with other, or WISP or on with us and chat or wherever, they have a BBIC level kind of a generalized smooth graph to look at and report on as they come in, huh?
Yeah, we've had one situation where a customer was having issues on their GPS, and we have the ability to see this information now. And what it was is that there was a LTE site that was actually turned on a Friday, and over the weekend they had nothing but GPS issues, and we were able to actually see when the actual GPS was affected, the date and time, and then we were able to go back and they were able to go back to the tower folks and say, hey, what happened during this time? And come to find out, they had turned the LTE site on, and it was affecting the performance of GPS. So it gave some hard data, which is
correlated, so the WISP had
Yep.
a leg to stand on and go after. Yeah.
Right.
So that's good information.
Yep.
All right, so moving on here, we have export data. So this export data option is there for folks that want to save radio data to a CSV spreadsheet. So instead of looking at it in graph format, they can actually look at all the hard numbers on a spreadsheet instead over time. So this just gives you another way to look at the data for all of your links.
So on this feature here, I'm wondering, is this sends? Are you able to just download this onto your computer, or are you able to send this out like via email to a web page? Or
So as far as I know, you have to download it to your computer, and then
Okay.
you can do whatever you want with it.
got it. So you can create a script or some kind and do some fancy stuff behind the scenes. Okay, cool. I like it.
All right. And then another very important feature to me is Lifecycle events. So basically what this is, there's a checkbox that says events. You click that, and then it shows you blue lines that represent when your radio is rebooted, when the link was lost or reestablished, when you did firmware upgrades, or when other things happened on your network to that particular radio or radios. You'll have that there to help troubleshoot why your link went down or why your speeds dropped or something like that.
Yeah, I really like this feature. We've had this for quite a while. Where this works out really well is for troubleshooting. If you have a customer that's having some issues, you turn on the event button here, and then you can you can actually mouse over the blue line. It'll tell you the date and time, and then you can take the log file and pull that up, and then you can start. It'll takes very little time to figure out when an actual event occurred as far as in the log files itself. So it will expedite troubleshooting.
Right.
Is that the time on there? So you've zoomed in on an event. I see Pacific Standard Time, for example, on this blown up bubble here. So does that jive with the? It's not going to jive with the Zulu time, the London UTC time in the event file. Is that safe to say still? Is that correct?
This will be based on the time of the
Local.
location. The location of the radio. So if the radio is based in Midwest there, then it would show the Midwest time. Because see, it says PST on there right now.
Right.
This graph here came from our Alpha network on the West Coast. That's the reason why it says that.
Right. So I'm in California. I've pulled this up. I've got a PST time here. But now in California, I go to my log file on the radio.
Yeah,
and
you would
that's
have
on
to do,
London time
right,
still,
right, right. You'd
Okay,
have to
that's
do
my
the
that's
do the
my
quick
point.
Yeah, you'd have to do the quick map.
Quick map and correlate your local time zone to the zero meridian in London, right?
Right.
So that's stuff that's still kind of
Right.
in the works, right?
All right, so then the last feature we have here is the network status chart. So previously you'd only get a series of dots with numbers attached to them on the dashboard screen. Now you get a pie chart that kind of shows you an overview of your network. So in this screenshot we have 117 units that are red. So that's either links down, the radios are offline, or something like that. You've got 46 that are healthy. You've got 6 that are never been connected to the cloud before or are ignored, and then 6 that are set as warning, which is yellow, which is firmware mismatches or something is lost cloud connectivity, something like that. So this just gives you a different way to look at your network status when you're in the dashboard screen.
That's a pretty graphic there. 117. Wow, what happened there?
Let's see, a Pac-Man.
Thermal nuclear meltdown
Well,
of
there's
some kind?
a little Pac-Man act.
Yeah. I'm just calling out what I'm seeing there.
I don't know, Eric, what happened to the Alpha network? Why is it all red?
How do we know this snapshot's from
That
the
was a
Alpha?
power outage event, right? Yeah, we had a California power outage. Yeah.
27-minute, yeah.
And so the last and most important feature, scheduled upgrades. By popular demand, we give you the option on the Mimosa Cloud on when you can upgrade your radios. So you can choose the firmware, the day, the time, and then you can just let it go.
And the devices that you want to upgrade too.
Exactly. So,
No more getting up at 2 a.m. and manually pushing all that stuff
well, you
out?
can if you want to, but a
No.
lot of people that I've talked to and myself, and we don't want to get up at 3 in the morning to do upgrades.
Yep. Yeah.
So now you don't have to. So
This is great.
Here you go.
This is wonderful. See, all my students in my training now can rest assured that we have this in place for you, because this was a big request that we all wanted. So
We do listen to you guys.
we do.
So I really hope that you guys find these features useful to you. And if you want to look at this blog post, we have it on mimosa.co/blog if you want to read it. We also, like I said, have documentation for all of these features in the cloud help page. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to Mimosa Support by going to mimosa.co/support or emailing us at support@mimosa.co. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Happy holidays. Enjoy your time off if you're not working. And if you are working, I hope that your networks will behave themselves when you're not looking.
Thanks for tuning in, too, and thanks for watching.
All right, guys. We'll
Happy
see you on the
holidays.
next episode
Thanks,
of the
Dustin.
Dustin and Eric podcast show. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe or follow button to stay up to date with our latest podcast, which will be available on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud.